Hi y'all, I'm Rachel, and thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. We are gonna go over the new and improved way to feed your bees this winter. I promise you, once you try this method, you are not gonna wanna go back. It is so simple, so easy. You're gonna love it, and your bees are gonna love it. Now, as you may be able to tell, the girls aren't flying right now. It's like mid-30s, and I can't even barely feel my fingertips. So we're gonna wait for it to warm up. But in the meantime, I'm gonna take you into the honey house and show you how to make this candy feed. A lot of the methods that we've tried in the past that I'm sure you've seen on YouTube or on different social media sites or on the web involve a lot of time. It involves drying the candy board out. So we're gonna skip all of that, and within about 3 minutes, you're gonna have everything you need to go inside of your hive and really take advantage of the opportunity. Because we know that sometimes we get busy and it doesn't always work out when you plan. You're like, okay, I'm gonna plan this 3 days in advance, and then your candy board crumbles or something happens. You don't have to worry about any of this. You can do it on the spot. You're gonna be like, wow, it's a beautiful day. Let me get inside the hive. 3 minutes later, you can. So enough of all that. Let's go ahead and go into the honey house and make up this candy feed, and we'll make it all happen. I'm actually gonna show you what it looks like after 24 hours in this same video, so keep watching and you'll see just how much the bees love it. All right, let's go. Now, this is literally everything that you're gonna need. Sugar, honey, something to mix those with, so a bowl and a spatula, and I would recommend a spatula over a spoon so you can scoop up and really scrape the bottom of the mixture. And then for application paper, this is newspaper without the print on it. The print is perfectly fine, just something thin. Even if you use a printer paper, that's perfectly fine. And either a feeder extension or a honey super. I'm showing a honey super just so that you can see that it's really accessible. You don't have to go out and buy extra equipment. Use what you have on hand. So yeah, folks, this is it. I want to go ahead and address something as far as the honey that you're using. So only use honey that you have produced. It's a way of protecting your hives in case there is any disease or anything that honey came from something you bought in a store or from a neighbor. It's not likely, but you still don't want to take that chance. So make sure if you're using honey that it's from your own hives. Alternately, this is what we use a lot of times. So this is our the PG version would be our Oh No honey. This is, well, it's crystallized now, but it's honey that we have collected whenever we've been spinning out supers and say pumping it into the bottling tank, which is, I think it's back here. Yeah, right back here. Or whenever we've been bottling honey and had an accident, essentially where it goes on the ground. So this is not obviously for human consumption, but the bees will eat it just fine. And throughout the year, a lot of times what we'll do is just give this back to the bees, but we'll have a collection of it, and sometimes I just stow it away knowing that we're going to need it for another project or wanting to use it. So I'm not going to use this today just because I want to show you an example, and likely you probably have a liquid version still of honey. As I'm talking about this, you're like, oh no, I don't have my own honey. I got my bees this year, or they didn't produce. Like, I can't do this project. Yes, you can. So this is invert, and this is something that you can make yourself. It looks a lot like honey, but this is actually just sugar water that's been cooked down. Maybe it was cooked a little bit longer. It has that caramel color. If you want to make this, what you're gonna do is mix 2 parts sugar to 1 part water and simmer that for like 5 to 7 minutes, and you should get a similar result. It's just a honey-like consistency, but it's actually just a sugar syrup, and you can use that as a replacement instead of honey in this recipe. But in that case, it technically would be easier because you're only using 1 ingredient. Well, sugar and water. It'd still be a 2-ingredient recipe, but you get my point. It's easy, no matter what. So let's get into it. Normally, I wouldn't measure anything out, but for the sake of this video, I want you to know exactly the end result that you'll be able to get with using this recipe. So initially, I'm going to go ahead and add sugar, And there are a little bit of clumps in there, but that's a-okay. In the second step, when you start kneading the mixture together, you can break those down. But definitely add the sugar first, because whenever you're adding the honey, it'll tend to stick to the bowl. And if you can avoid that in the first place, it's really best practice too. One of the really great aspects of this recipe is as you're adding the sugar, you'll be able to tell right off the bat how much of the recipe you'll yield there at the end, because it doesn't condense down at all. So initially I used 4 cups of sugar, and I'm going to ultimately end up adding half of this pound of honey. So about 8 ounces of honey is going to go into it. And I'm just going to knead it through and make sure that it's the consistency that I'm looking for. And I'll show you here in a second exactly what you want that to be. Essentially, this is it. I'm just gonna mash it through a little bit more and take my spatula to make sure I don't have any dry pockets of sugar down on the bottom. I don't think that I do. I think that I did a okay job. And this will be for 1 hive. And you can double, triple, quadruple the recipe as you see fit. But again, this is the consistency right here. And you can just easily be able to break it apart. And so that's really it. It's warm outside now. I saw some bees flying around, so we can go ahead and suit up and put this mixture inside of our hives and see how much they like it, because I promise you it's going to be a lot. And it's really straightforward from here. Essentially, I'm just going to go ahead and open up this hive, add the newspaper down and the bee feed, spread it around just to give the bees more surface area to access, add that honey super on top to create some space for them, and put it all back together. It's 11:15 right now. So from here, we'll be able to monitor their progress and see just how much they like it. Okay, it's only about 2 hours later, but I'm really excited about this. I took a little peek and I thought that I'd fully open it up just so you can see how much the bees are absolutely all over this. It's funny. I hope that it picks it up on camera, but you can like hear the bees this time around because they're up top. Honestly, it kind of sounds like I have a couple angry ones, so wish me luck. Oh my goodness. See, look at that. They're all over the edges of this. Their tongues are out. Okay, like technically, that little thing, it isn't a tongue, but I don't remember the word, so we're just gonna say tongue. But their tongues are out and eating all over this honey and sugar mixture. We'll come back tomorrow and do another glimpse to see how much of this is gone, but I can already see the edges they have really taken to. Now, I won't expect all this to be eaten because honestly, it's quite a lot. I'd expect maybe like 3 weeks off of that, because we're not in the like time frame here in Central Alabama where feeding is necessary. I'm doing this just to show an example of what we do when it is time to feed. But yeah, they're good to go. This is going to last them quite a while, but they're certainly working it a lot. And I'm going to show you at the front of the hive too, because I think it's an important note to make that whenever you're feeding your bees, that if you feed them just plain sugar, they're likely to carry it out of the front of the hive, and you'll just have like this big pile of sugar on the front of, you know, where the bees are entering. They'll just kind of throw it out. I'm not saying that they won't use any of it, but this mixture of honey being in combination with the granules of sugar really encourages them to keep it and actually utilize that. You know, the honey has all the nutrients that they need aside from what they've stored away, you know, in pollen, but its combination with the sugar is something that they can utilize like right away. They don't have to make any special accommodations as if it were just sugar granules. All right, so as you see, there is just very little sugar. They'll carry big chunks of sugar out of the hive. All right, so it's the next day and it's a little past 24 hours. I think we're probably closer to, let's see, 27 hours. So didn't quite hit the mark, but I'm gonna check out this hive that we were in yesterday. Oh wow, it's so warm. It's so warm. You can feel like on top of the heat vents, or on top of the vents on the inner cover, just how much heat is coming off of there. They ate so much more than I expected. Wow. Wow. Look at them just working away. I would say that's an absolutely major success. This is just the next day, and they have taken it down to, I would say, close to a half of where it was when we started. I'm gonna gently put this back on. Yeah, huge success. Definitely give it a try. It's gonna be easier than what you've been doing. I can like almost guarantee that. And if you have something easier, let me know in the comments, because we all gotta know. We have limited time in the day, and doing things that make sense for your time are so important when beekeeping, because you know it's fun as a hobby, it's fun doing this as a full-time business, but you know there's a lot to accomplish during a day, and if we can find things that save time as well as work, chef's kiss. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I really appreciate your support on my channel, so please like, comment, and subscribe if you got any value from this content. And don't forget, in a world where you can be anything, y'all be kind. Oh, this is a lot heavier than I thought. Okay. I don't know why I'm just doing this with my hands.